Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of three opinionated guys with mics and too much free time. Strong enough to stop a speeding movie rumor, more powerful than a bad comic book event, able to waste hours of time asking stupid questions to people who have better things to do. It's Dave, Ben, and John. It's Superhero Speak.
Good evening, this is Superhero Speak live at the Finger Lakes Comic Con, and just coming to the stage is Rusty Gilligan joining us as a guest. And of course you also have Ben Fiore, and also entering the stage we have John O'Grady and
which one?
Dave Markowski.
I'll sit at the pink one.
Hey everybody! I'm narcissistic and I'm an egotist. I want your attention over here. Come on, we're doing a podcast now. It's about comic books.
Is it? If we're broadcasting live, isn't it a broadcast?
It's a broadcast, yes.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
We need at least one Deadpool in the audience. It's kind of a requirement.
1, 2, 3.
I thought we were here to talk about Rusty's sex life.
Yeah, no, we're not. No, we're not going to do that.
We have
the movie called Deep Thought.
Nice.
I was going to say we have an hour to fill here.
An hour.
But no, we are Superhero Speak, and we're here to talk about what we're calling today our episode of Press Gang. We're talking about the varying degrees of big press, small press, and independent press in comics.
That's why we wanted someone who had a little bit of knowledge about that on the panel with us.
Yeah. I mean, we already, between the three of us, we have a little bit of knowledge. So,
How many people here have heard of Superhero Speak?
No.
Okay, that's better than I thought.
I like you.
Normally we're in the negative numbers.
Let the record show we had one half, and that's twice what I expected.
Yeah,
so.
there you go. One half. It was kind of
Our viewership has doubled. Oh wait, it's a podcast. Wake up!
So I think when we get into this conversation, we need to set some ground rules about what are we defining as big press, small press, and independence when it comes to comic books. I mean, obviously Marvel and DC, the big two, right? They're big
I thought they were small. They seem kind of small to me.
Well, DC is working on getting small again. That's
the funny thing is, to be brutally honest, there should really be no such term as independent. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing comic books, independent has to deal with music. Music would, as an independent, would be in the 80s or early 90s, somebody would record something on a couple of tracks in their garage. They'd go to a club, play for a half hour on a set, sell cassettes out of the trunk of their car for $1, maybe get a beer for doing their job on stage. The end. And it's not the same for comic books, because you could go to the same printer, you use the same pencil, the same white boards to draw. Nothing is set, nothing is different. And there are people who do underground comics, or what you guys call independent, and they try to go for continuity. They try to go for series where the storytelling goes from issue to issue, on and on and on. I've always said this, like I really have hated it. And when people call me independent, you know, I mean, I let it slide, but I really don't like it. I like the idea of small press. And I think the division line, the line drawn in the sand, is its distribution. That's the way to count, you know, to counter when you say what's the difference between small press and large press. It's distribution. It's availability. Yeah. I have a book. I'm not in Diamond. Now, Marvel and DC are in Diamond, so there's a good separation point. You know, you could buy the Legos, the Underoos, the whatevers of Superman and Batman and whatever, but you're not going to find my stuff on there. They might have a book with more pages for $3.99, and you might find my book for $5.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about distribution and production.
But is there also a separation compared to, like, okay, how many movies have you guys put out, right?
Yeah.
How many TV shows do you have? I mean, even Xenoscope now has, Van Helsing. I mean, well, they've licensed, it's not exactly the same as their book, but they've licensed it and they've got something out. So it
This will
seems
probably get me in a lot of Dutch, but when I see characters like that, I think to myself, this is their telling of the character, but they're public domain characters. It'd be like if I put out a Frankenstein book and someone said, oh, let's do a Frankenstein movie, and I walk out there and I'm like, hey, let's get on the red carpet and do a premiere. I released a Frankenstein comic book, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well...
Yeah, but you're not Mary Shelley.
Right. Yeah. So there's, there's nothing official.
Are we sure he's not Mary Shelley?
People have said.
Well, along those lines, we've got like 3 different Sherlocks right now,
That's true.
And you can't really have enough of those.
Well, between the idea of public domain, free use, characters that are being used, but in like a free use graphic type of way, like a pulp story of the shadow or a pulp story of the spirit when you don't own the characters, and then the rips, there's always going to be something. Like the Lone Ranger has produced like maybe 100 cowboy rips. Green Hornet, Batman, I think probably has the most. And there's nothing against the creators. Some people feel that the line of there's going to be nothing new. So I'm going to take something that's old and redo it in my style, or a homage.
Right.
I really like the Big Bang guys that worked on, the Big Bang line for Image. They basically took these cornerstone characters and made their own versions. And in all honesty, I really think that, they made them better.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but I'm a golden age and silver age type of guy.
Yeah.
So modern comics just do nothing for me at all. Like, literally.
But I guess, too, one of the other things that people don't always talk about, because I think people trying to break into comics, a lot of times their dream is to, one day I'll work on Spider-Man.
That used to be my thing. I used to love Marvel, and I used to say, I really want to work on blank. And to tell you the truth, now, I don't care if I work for Marvel, DC, or Image. I really just want to work. Some of the stories are... How do you write your own story and say that you're a great writer if you're working on continuity of another character that's established?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. I'm not taking away anything from the writers that are out there, but you have to, to establish yourself, you have to be in that groove.
Right.
And I just don't see a lot of the new stuff. My big complaint lately, aside from continuity, because that kills me. Like, I look at something and I say, that's not what Captain America did. That's not what Wonder Woman did. And I say, screw it, and I walk away. And
he's always been evil. He's always been part of Hydra. Yes.
But for me, I look at it as being the characters aren't developed enough. There's no characterization at all. And there's no storytelling ability. Like, a Golden Age book, somebody would tell a story within a 10, 20-page story. It would be all encapsulated. It would be so entertaining. Kids would love it. They'd trade the books back and forth, on and on and on. Today, it's like a damn Dragon Ball Z battle. It takes 10 issues to show one explosion.
Yeah, basically each issue is the extent of what would happen between 2 commercial breaks of a TV show.
Well,
it's nonsense.
I wouldn't go against Dragon Ball Z. There are a lot of people that really
like
that.
No. But the thing is that it's a different medium. Today, writers write comic books like they're writing movies because they see the potentiality of comic books being made into movies or television.
Right.
Pardon me.
Right.
But the problem is that it's a different medium. It's a very different medium. You don't hand a painter a chisel. It's a different medium. They're both art, but it's not the same. It's not the same medium. You want to write a script for television based on a comic book? Hire a TV writer.
Yeah.
Give them enough reference. Like, I hate the ones where they say, let's do a Batman movie. Well, I'm going to give you the 3 most important annuals he's done, and here's like 5 cartoons on a DVD, and here's a couple of random issues. And then he's like, well, let's copy this line, let's do this storyline, let's blend this together. How much mayo do you need to fill the sandwich before it tastes like crap?
Yeah, and that just happened with The Killing Joke. They one of the most popular Batman stories of all time. And
I don't even know why they
padded the first half hour with just.
I don't even know why they bother making the established books into television and movie, animated, whatever. We've already read them. We already know what they're like. Oh, you like The Watchmen? Well, that made a good movie, yeah. But then, like The Killing Joke. Well, you know the ending. And if they alter it, people get pissed at the ending. So make something brand new. Make something, I remember when they made comic books adapted from the movies rather than the other way around.
Well, they did okay with Dark Knight Returns. I mean, they made that into two animated feature series, and that was I thought that was okay. But it's just when they take something like The Killing Joke, which is really only good for a half an hour. I mean, it's not really a long story. You can't make that into a feature-length thing without padding it, and then padding it with something that just never happened. And a very controversial relationship between Batman and Batgirl.
I believe the idea behind putting The Killing Joke, The Dark Knight Returns, any of those books into an animated movie is they're trying to attract younger readers.
Well, I wouldn't say younger, given the ratings that those things garner.
I'm sorry, newer.
Newer, yeah.
People maybe who've never read the books, they're hoping, they'll read they'll see the cartoon and maybe they'll go out and start buying the books based on watching the cartoon. Maybe. But when they change so much in like The Killing Joke, I wonder if they feel ripped off if they now read it after they've...
See, I don't get the impression that they're trying to do that for the readers. They're doing it for the TLDR fans, the people who don't have the patience to read the comics, but they heard that these are good stories, and now they don't have to read them. Now they can watch them.
Here's a great idea, Killing Joke 2. Further adventures in the animation. That way the readers who were around that want to see the continuing saga, the continuing storyline, the continuing what-if, Elseworlds, blah, 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 Earth, can get entertained. And at the same time, it can bring in new, make it enough to where it's established, like it's 10 years later and it's spurring off a different character, a different line, a different something.
Well, they have that. It's called Batman Beyond.
Yeah. Batman Beyond was actually a really, in my opinion, was a really thrilling animated production.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody says they have their favorite animations. I always thought Batman the Animated Series was the pivotal cornerstone when it came to comics and animation. And Batman Beyond pushed the limits a lot. And I also like the idea that they kept it within the same realm, and it was all in continuity, and they used the same voices in most cases. That was a really thrilling thing. And then when they started adding the different Justice League cartoons, and Superman was also a nice cartoon that was on its own, even though it was a little pie in the sky, but I thought it was kind of nice. But all the animation that's coming out today, like Marvel's animation, is all digital and it's crap. It literally looks like they're cut scenes from a Capcom game that couldn't make it into the game. So I was terribly unhappy with Iron Man, Captain America, and the other one, what was it, Punisher?
Punisher and Black Widow. Yeah.
Terrible. I mean, the voices were great. I think Norman Reedus was Punisher. Is that what it was? He was one of the main characters anyway. And they did have some very established voices in some of them, but I was terribly disappointed because they're so digital, it takes it away.
So, as per usual on this show, we're getting off the main topic.
As we do.
Just to bring it back a little bit, though, like on the flip side, with independence, like we're here, we're complaining about entertainment, we're complaining about cartoons and TV shows, but yet they don't seem to be going after looking for a new title. There's a few standouts that are real popular that they come and grab and maybe make a movie out of and you never hear of again. Do you guys think maybe that's a mistake? Because one of the arguments is entertainment's getting stale, right? So, I mean, how many times can you make a Superman movie? How many times can you make a Batman movie? We've seen them, you know? Yeah. How many times can you reboot Spider-Man?
Well, for that matter, how many times can you reboot the DC comic universe?
Yeah.
But maybe, a Mac in Trouble big screen adaptation.
That was in the works. That was in the works with a publisher that I had formerly, and I was very happy to do it. But you have to have faith. It's like an old coach of mine used to tell me when I wrestled. You have to have faith in the ring that you're in. If the guy that you're competing with doesn't know how to wrestle, you're going to get hurt. And in this case, if you're with a publisher that doesn't know how to market, doesn't know how to do something, you're going to get hurt.
Right.
And in my case, I would love to do my own thing as an animated, but I would never reproduce something that I've already done in print. Because to me, you watch it, there's no point in reading it. I want you to go out and watch it and then want more and read.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the independent market, if you want to call it that, I still prefer small press, but the independent market has so much to offer right now for video production and animated production. And there's so many people out there that are doing fan films. Batman and Punisher and Joker, Harley Quinn, Deadpool, all of those fad characters, fad in the pan, all those characters people are going crazy with. I wish a company like Bat in the Sun that does all their Batman characters would pick up and take an independent character.
Right, and lift it
older
off the
ones
page.
like Too Much Coffee Man, Flaming Carrot. I wish that they'd pick up guys like that and do a half-hour show. They've already proven in cosplay that fans can make incredibly beautiful costumes with incredible whatevers, and the kids know how to pick up these programs and CGI themselves, out the wazoo.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't get it. But to me, I would rather see a really thrilling production of a hero that I've never seen before, or a funny character I've never seen before, versus another Batman.
Yeah,
even if you're a big Batman fan. Too much is too much.
Right. But the question is, what is the path to that? Like, what's going to drive people to connect with small press titles that are out there that are good and try to cross mediums with them? Like, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of effort there, per se. And I don't know if it's a lack of connectivity between those fan bases, but it seems like you don't see those very often.
I preach a lot, and I tell people, you can follow patterns like ABCD right down the line. You can skip around, you can create your own thing. I think the biggest word that it comes to is marketing.
Yeah.
And when you market yourself, I always tell people, like I do sometimes panels, business panels, and I say you have to endear, and this is the quality line, this is the money shot. You have to endear yourself to your fans. And comic book publishers, small and far away, distant, one book a year, one book every 10 years, 50 books a month if that's the case, they don't endear themselves to their fans. They put out a book and they hope that their book gets read. They don't bring a cosplayer in costume. They don't talk to the fans. They don't have letters pages anymore. They don't have editor's notes. See, Stan Lee created the editor's note in a book. You'd read an Avengers and it would say, oh, didn't Magneto kick your butt? And it would say, like, Magneto fought the Avengers back in number 241 by Smiling Stan. And that was how people went to the comic book stores and bought the older books. That was how back issue sales were done. If he didn't start that, there would be no comic book store back issues anymore. A lot of these dealers wouldn't even be carrying them because nobody would buy them.
True.
But now, there's nothing like that. And the stories are stretched, and they're, and the covers look like pinups. I mean, if I want a poster, I'll just buy a damn poster. I'll get one for the same price, 11 by 17 rather than, 6 5/8 by 10 1/4, whatever. I don't need that.
Yeah.
But they're not endearing themselves with the marketing. And I think that could be the biggest thing. Right now, what's the name of that company? I don't know the name. That does all those, like, Wonderland and Oz, and they have the...
Zenescope.
Zenescope does most of those.
They should be, as I'm going to say this, and this is going to make somebody pissed and somebody laugh, but it's probably going to be them. I'll get a letter in the mail and it'll explode. But it literally, they are rich enough in talent, possibly in money, to where they should be making fan films of their characters.
Yeah.
There's enough pretty girls and buff guys out there. There's enough, back lots and haunted houses and, whatever out there to put together anywhere from 5 to 20-minute little fan pictures.
Right.
And they could endear themselves to their market and wind up with a giant feature film.
They could, although I would say that the majority of their catalog is public domain characters. Granted, they've taken very unique takes on them.
Yes.
But it'd be interesting to see how that would go. And I'd worry that, I guess Disney can't really fight that they own those things, but Disney's done a lot with those characters over the years.
It's stylization.
Yeah.
They have a Dorothy. Dorothy wasn't sexy.
Right.
They have one of their characters is like in the Wild West.
Yep.
And that was what was it? I don't remember which one it was. Was it like an Oz tale, but it was in the Wild West, and that was one of the miniseries? I'm sorry, I'm not up on.
No, it's.
But I think their stuff is beautiful. I'm just not up.
It is. It is very well drawn.
Their
and very
stylizations would make
styled, and they have a version of Robin Hood that's a female with some sort of weird eye issue, but like an expert archer. I mean, they do a lot of interesting stuff.
Let's ask the man on the end what he thinks about all the sexy drawings and the sexy stuff.
We
see what that was? We know now what the problem is. He got really excited and hit the table. Anyway. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you can't see it, but in our studio live, professional wrestler Tyger Smith is about to say something for our lovely
what show is this?
Superhero Speak.
Did we met? I feel like we met once.
We may have met
in a dark alley.
In a dark alley, with some hookers and blow. Oh.
George Carlin, where are you?
Beep.
Maybe was it Roll Philly? Maybe.
I think so. I think I actually did an interview with you.
Probably.
It's possible.
You have longer hair, right?
I did a long time ago. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
I think we met. I think didn't you interview Neil Adams and?
Oh yeah.
We definitely have. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Okay.
We did meet. It was like the partner that wasn't there. It was just you.
It was just me, probably.
Me and you, and a woman was walking around taking pictures.
It's possible.
Probably wasn't even you. Okay, so
a lot of women take his picture. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, okay, where's this being broadcasted?
Well, we're here at the moment, but we're recording and we're going to post this to our website later in the weekend.
And over Lower Slovovia too.
Yes.
Yes.
It will be translated into Slovovia.
Is that even a thing? Is it real?
It is.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm ignorant, so.
You're going to be getting a hell of a lot of emails now, but you won't be able to read them because they'll be in Slovovia. But anyway, just follow the donkey pictures. You'll get the idea.
Is there a font for that? I'm just wondering. I have a font for Kryptonian on my computer. I'm just wondering.
It's called donkey betting.
Show. All right.
So Rusty, where can people send all the hate emails to?
Superhero Speak.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Where are you guys out of?
Philly.
North southeastern PA.
I swear I met you before. I have met you.
I probably have. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Okay. I actually used to volunteer at that convention and then started the podcast 3 years ago. So yeah.
The Great Philadelphia Comic Con, or
We've been there. We've been there.
And then, Great Philly. We've been a couple times.
I think that's where I met you. Were you at the show with what was that guy's name? Penguin from Gotham. What's his name?
Oh yeah, we were at that show. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was there.
That was Great Philly Comic Con last
that was
year.
where
I was there
was
too.
walking around taking pictures, and I'm like, "Who are you with?" And she was with one of you guys. I swear to God, that was you.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Before and after.
I'm not going to say you're wrong.
I think she had red hair. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Am I right?
Honestly, I don't remember.
I don't know.
It's all a blur.
I'm not making this up. There was a woman.
I get hit on the head a lot, so.
Oh, do you?
Are you?
But.
Well, so let me think. Were you Brimstone? Were you with it?
No, I hang out with Brimstone sometimes.
Okay.
He was there.
Super nice guy, by the way.
Yeah, Brimstone.
Yeah. He's been on our show.
Because I talk to him all the time.
But you know what, Brimstone? If you're listening to this, and I hope you do get this link, I have challenged you about 6 times on social media, and the last time on Twitter you said to me you'd rather have me in your corner than to, wrestle me. Brim, what's up? I'll come to you. I'll come to you to your store. We'll do it there. We'll do it in the parking lot. I want it.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
You know what? Let's make it even better. Brimstone, I'm going to challenge you to a cook-off. I'll come to your kitchen, and I'll bring my spices.
Nice.
That's right. And let me tell you, my spices come from Dollar General, and they're the finest quality in the world.
We will gladly come judge that.
Oh my God! Yeah.
On the air.
He has some good stuff.
Oh, I know he does.
He has some really good ones.
He's a genius. See, that's genius in small press marketing. Like what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Yourself to the fan.
Yes.
When you learn how to diversify your product, now if I do, this is a pink microphone cover, and I'm grabbing it and I'm tilting it towards my face. This is audio. It's nice. You guys don't know.
It works really well if you tilt it back and
I'm telling you
forth.
right now, live.
Closer and further.
No.
This looks literally like.
Hopefully someone's taking a picture and they'll Photoshop it later.
I don't need Photoshop. You could just look at my college yearbook for the real ones. And I'll just want to let you know that goat had very little to live for after that.
Small press.
That's yes. Oh, by the way, small press. Anyone?
Yeah.
The problem is that a lot of small press publishers don't endear themselves, and Brimstone is one of those people that accurately knows how to diversify his brand to get people in the door, because there are people who will buy one thing, then buy another, then buy another. And I'm not going to say I'm a big genius or a giant, because I'm not, but I have trading cards and I have prints of my characters, and then at times we also do things like action figures and pillows and blah, blah, blah.
Well, it is a business, and
people.
that's an important thing to remember, that this is a business. And if you're not marketing yourself and treating it like a business, if you're treating it precious, like it's simply about the art, then you're going to continue to be small.
For us, you promised me a pinup of my character. Where is he? Where is he?
I'm having a hard time because, in all honesty, I don't think I can capture all of your lusciousness in one picture. And I just want to let you know I said the word luscious with a pink microphone cover, and it's embarrassing.
Yes. Maybe you do it landscape mode.
Let me tell you, I've been dieting, so you should be able to do that.
You can always model it after the Costanza Art of Seduction.
All right, I told myself I was going to come up here just because you were here. So.
Hey, well, welcome.
See you later, Russ. Nice seeing you again. I see you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Tyger Smith.
Take care, man. Oh, yeah, definitely plug yourself.
I'm going to steal the plug. Okay. You can check me out on my website /app at http://uwc.mobapp.at. Download it free for today. You can check out artwork, pictures that are exclusive. Check out UWC TV, watch some matches, watch my reality show, Key Level Celebrity. You can check out my podcast that's featured on iHeartRadio. Yeah, I just plugged my plug on your plug. And you can see cool pictures from cons with guys like Russ. You're on there.
Awesome. John, you got all that, right?
Let me turn the microphone back on.
Sure.
Just keep stroking the
Oh! There we go.
Nothing to see here.
There you go. That was karma.
Karma.
I think it's
Only at a convention, folks.
Yes.
Only at a convention.
Yes.
Love it. All right, so
You saved it.
Good, yeah.
It's good, yeah.
where were we before we were so rudely interrupted?
We're discussing how the small
The marketing.
publishers-
We're discussing marketing.
Yeah, they need marketing.
And how...
What? Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Microphone says what?
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's
Keep us
definitely...
on track. Be the voice of reason. Be
Right.
the beard
I
of
usually
reason.
am.
I will be the beard of reason here. There's clearly Marvel and DC understand the importance of marketing in diversifying their products and getting them ubiquitously out there where everyone knows all of their characters. Now, granted, their comic book publishing could use some work, could use some love.
That's what happens when it's oversaturated.
Right. It's that balance of art and business, and they've got the business, but they need to work on the creative side. The small press have the creative passion, but some of them need to work on the marketing side in order to get bigger.
It's not really a question of quality, because I have to say that you will find quality in just about everything. I don't care for modern comics. I could give you a ton of reasons. I'm not going to, but one of my biggest problems is they pigeonhole the readers. You know, Court of Owls, 20 issues. It crosses over with books that you wouldn't even read.
Yeah.
You know, you're a Batman fan. You're not a Swamp Thing fan. You're not a, you know,
Right.
whatever. And, you know, all of a sudden, oh, my God, I'm buying an issue of Barbie, or I'm buying an issue of, you know, Barney the Dinosaur, or whatever. And why is it crossing over with the Owls? It's only one panel.
Right.
Next thing you know, you're at Archie Comics. And
Yeah.
You
Or
don't
it's
know
like
how you
the
got there.
It's like the dilemma of, you know, what was the first Wolverine? The one panel in the book before his actual first book appearance, or his actual first appearance that lasted one whole book?
Yeah.
So, you know, but the marketing can get overdone.
Yeah.
And you could become, and I don't want to say greedy, because corporations make money. That's what they do. There's no such thing as greed. There's production. But they're oversaturated.
Yeah.
And it's not oversaturated when it comes to Batman Underoos, Batman
Sure.
chewables, Batman vitamins, Batman
Absolutely.
lampshades. But it is oversaturated with Batman video games, where Telltale makes these beautiful dioramas with these incredible stories and these stupid little strips. And then, you know, you're reading you know, what's the OnStar, and now there's a video for OnStar, and then Kellogg's. Oh, now there's an ad for Kellogg's, and now there's an ad for Kotex, and now there's blah 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 blah. And
Batwing stuff.
Maybe that one I agreed. But the thing, but the Batawang. But the thing is that they oversaturate and they take from the continuity. The generic Batman is the one that they concentrate on. The biggest argument when I was a kid was which Batman was the one in Detective Comics.
Yeah.
Was it Earth 1? Was it Earth 2? Was it blah,
Right,
blah, blah? Nobody seemed to really figure out whatever, because, you know, Aparo, and then, you know, you'd see Adams issues and blah, 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 blah. And it was just, you know, it was very cool. But there's so much oversaturation today that it's literally... It's like having a glass of wine, and it's this beautiful red, and after so much saturation and straining, it just comes out clear. So...
Yeah. No, and I think that they have the wherewithal to do different books for different audiences.
Right.
But to have, when they do these, when it's so event-driven, when so many of their titles are event-driven, where, A, just to finish a story you have to read 20 in a row, and B, to get the complete story you have to read 20 across of different titles. That's, I don't know who they think their market is. Like, they're being greedy at that point. They're trying to say, well, someone's going to want to be a completionist on this, and so they're going to buy the 20, you know, issues 1 through 20 of all 20 of these titles, so they get the full story.
And the funny thing is, some of the ones that they cross over into, if you didn't read them, it wouldn't harm you to not know what was going on in that story.
Right.
Like, it really wasn't another chapter. It really wasn't another something.
Right. It was a side story. It didn't really affect anything, but they make you think you need to lure you into it.
Yeah.
But some of that was kind of partially the reason for, like, the big comic collapse of the 90s, right? I mean, you had to... People, and this affected me too, because I would go to the comic store. I'd say I want to see this whole storyline, so I'd order all the comics, and it got to the point where I couldn't afford it anymore. And one day I just stopped going and picking up my comics.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do it. But
you flush out readers that way.
Yeah. But on the other hand, when you've got a following and you've got some good characters, there is a need in the audience for crossovers. I mean, they want to see some cool stuff.
Yeah, there's a difference between crossover, Batman going into like a Wonder Woman book, and the two of them hang out for like 3 issues. Or I'm a big Justice Society fan. I love Earth 2, the old Earth 2, and the original Golden Age characters.
Yes, so Wood takes out the Green Lantern.
There you go. and my opinion, Alan Scott was the best Green Lantern. Hint, hint. But you'd see like Shazam, they'd have like a Justice Society in their story, and then he would appear in their next book, and then next month they would all appear in the Shazam book, and then they'd appear in the JSA book.
Right.
But it was like a Marvel team up. It was like a DC Presents. Now it's like, I love Roger Stern. He's like one of the best writers next to Roy Thomas in history, but one of the worst problems that DC ever created, aside from all the different crises, which resulted in crisis at, the unemployment line, was it started out with it being, the Doomsday Battle, then it was the death of Superman,
right.
It was the reign of the Superman, then
it
was the return of Superman, and it was literally, what was it, like 120 issues all total?
It was insane, and they were basically milking, we're killing off this character because no one wants this title anymore. But then it became a marketing lollapalooza. It's like, we need to drag this out even longer. Give him a long funeral. Maybe he gets replaced by some people, and maybe he comes back now that he's popular again. And
here's a great idea: have one title, like number 200, be like the death of Superman, and number 201 be like a 90-page giant. And then number 202 be a 90-page giant, and then go back to their regular format.
Yeah.
And those issues would have skyrocketed. They would have had all the stories encapsulated, and I think people would have enjoyed that a little bit more. Because I certainly don't want to read Man-Thing.
No, and what the problem is, what that event did is it killed two things. The Death of Superman event killed two things. It killed death. Mm-hmm. In comics, death used to be a permanent thing.
Right.
Now characters die all the time and come back. And two, it killed collectorship, because now none of those books, people started collecting those thinking they'd be worth something, but they printed so many copies of those because of the demand that nothing ever gets printed in a small enough run that it's ever going to be worth anything.
Let me hit you up with this, okay? You said collectorship.
Yeah.
You know what collectorship is? People go out and they like Batman and they buy a Batman.
Right.
But then they say, Neil Adams was my favorite Batman artist. The collectors will go back and buy like 20 issues of the famous Batman books that Aparo drew or blah, 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 Adams drew, and from like the 70s or 80s.
Right, and those are collectibles still.
But they're not going to buy the new ones because they're disjointed. They like Batman. They'll see Batman on TV. They'll see Affleck in the movies or... Affleck or whatever. But the thing is that to them, that's the collectible part of it.
Yeah, it's funny you guys are bringing this up. Actually had something just happen in my real life. My wife's cousin's husband got into a car accident and passed away at the end of last year, and now her cousin comes to her and goes, he was a comic book collector. He was hoping to sell these one day. Could Dave go through them and figure out see if they're worth anything? And because she doesn't have any money and she needs money, I'm like, okay, they're all modern age books. They're all from like the mid '90s forward.
Yeah.
Right. So they're basically worth the cover price, maybe a little bit more.
If that. Right. And it's just like, and there's nothing.
Overproduction, unfortunately.
Right. Exactly. And there's nothing in there.
How many times have I walked into a bookstore and seen? The white-bagged wedding issue of Lois Lane and Superman, the black-bagged death of whatever.
Right.
How many different versions of the X-Men covers that connected did you need with the special X-Men card on the holographic card on the cover?
Right.
Well, even back in the 90s, when I was collecting, I've got like 10 Superman #1s or Man of Steel #1s. I've got a couple of the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man #1s, but they had like the platinum cover, the gold cover, the black cover, and all these other covers. Some were limited, some were. And of course, I got I was in my heyday at that point. I was in college and flush with cash from 3 jobs trying to support myself, and I said, okay, so I got like 5 of all of them, but none of them are. Maybe some of the Spider-Man covers are worth something, but the rest of them really aren't. Even the Robin #1s. That was when that first came out. It's not really worth collecting at this point.
Right.
And a lot of people are still doing that even now. When a #1 comes out, or they see something that they think, this crossover's never happened before.
Right, they'll bag
some
and board it.
stores will get a call and say,
I don't know.
5 aside for me.
I don't know if you guys have picked up on this. We've been doing this show for a while now.
Have we?
And we have had younger creators who come on who are doing independent or small press.
Like me, I'm only 19. I'm sorry.
Is that in cat years?
Oh.
And a lot of them are going, I've got an idea for a 20 book story here. I've got an idea for a 15-book story. They're not thinking like, oh, let me write one or two good books that people like.
Whenever anybody comes up to me and they say, I like to write, like, let's say a 20-book story and whatever, I say to them, it's too much material for the audience to handle. Take your novel-length book, make it into one volume, make it like a 72 to 90-page book or whatever, or a mini-series, and then encapsulate it later and go from there. Because what happens is you lose the audience's attention because they've basically rotted on the shelf with everybody else's.
Yeah.
And getting back to what he was saying before about all the different books in the 90s, we mock all those books now, but that was their way of marketing and diversifying and bringing in new customers and new readers back then. That's why it's not working today. And that's the same reason why when I do advertising or marketing for clients today, I tell them the stuff that worked in the 50s and the 40s because that stuff brought about audience participation and audience interest that's lost today because of all the handheld devices and all the distractions.
Yeah.
You know, people are more, I mean, hey, do you like The Flash? Yeah, I do. It's one of my favorite television shows.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, I just got the downloadable character on my Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
I just built him in the WWE game. It's awesome. Do you read the book? Oh, there's a book?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's it called? You know, but that's the truth. That's why it's so watered down. My big standing is I actually like the continuity of the DC and the Marvel shows that are on television, and I like some of it in the movies, but I like the television shows, except for Jessica Jones. That was But the thing is that I like the continuity that they put together because it's television and they could play with it.
Yeah.
And they don't. They kept it good. And I like the CW recently, the Heroes
crossover
versus the Heroes versus Aliens. I thought that was good. And
it was.
I hated the Marvel Netflix Jessica Jones.
I liked it.
I liked it. That was good.
Hold on, let me rephrase that because I want to be nice.
Great.
Anyway.
Well, it is. It's all marketing. I mean,
It is.
but that's something that the small publishers don't do. I mean, they're not doing to the same extent, and since they don't have to, they put more time into creating the product than they do in just thinking of ways to market it. So they don't start with a marketing plan. They start with, well, we have these great ideas, and these authors and these inkers, and that want to put these things together, and there's more enthusiasm on that side. Whereas in DC,
you want to see how progressive the marketing has become and how good it's starting to be now. Marvel has Coulson on the S.H.I.E.L.D. show. Mm-hmm. And S.H.I.E.L.D. is not a superhero show, it's a spy show.
It is.
Just like Gotham is not a Batman comic book show, it's a cop show. Yeah. You have to take it for what it is. It's like a weird cop show. It's almost bordering on X-Files. But
if they ran it like a cop show, I think I'd like it more, though.
Yes, but here's the fact.
It's the worst policing
You've
in the world.
got the characters on the Marvel show crossing with the movies. You have the Netflix Marvel shows that are possibly going to be crossing with the movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the opposite hand, DC makes 1 million Flashes, 1 million Green Arrows, 1 million blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's Earth 2, it's Earth 3, it's Earth Underwear, it's Earth Flamingo. And they're like, what the hell? I want the Flash from Earth 1, and I want the Green Lantern from Earth 2, and I want the guy who played him in the cartoon. And,
we've discussed that because Grant Gustin.
He does a great job.
I honestly think that he's the best.
He is.
And as much as I liked, what's his name that plays Captain America?
Chris Evans.
As much as I liked Evans as Captain America, I thought he was much better as the Human Torch. And,
he was decent.
And I really think that they made a big mistake. They should have kept the characters a little bit more pure. Nothing wrong with him as Captain America. Just like the actor that's on This Is Us now, that originally played Green Arrow on Smallville, and then he played Aquaman in The Lost Pilot, which actually was good. I've seen it a couple of times. It actually wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Very, very One Tree Hill Aquaman, or I should say One Seaweed Hill Aquaman.
Yeah.
The thing is that you don't need 50 whatevers. I think it would have been a great idea, just an opinion, but they make a lot of commercial appeal. And I think what would have been a great idea is during the hiatus of all these shows, those characters appear in the movie. And people want their shot, quote unquote, their fix. They got to go see the movie.
Yeah.
And then the newest episodes should be the aftermath. And I think that would have really sold DVDs.
Well, part of the problem is that DC's trying to catch up to Marvel. And so I think as strategically speaking, they separated the continuities between the movies and the online the shows, because they had to do that in order to accelerate the movies. But on the other hand, Marvel's what works. Yeah. Marvel's got it down pat. They can see that they could have done that. They decided not to, and then they took creative control away from basically the people who write the good comic book stories and gave it to I guess just storyline people who just.
Marvel has always been steeped in realism. It's New York.
Right, you can relate to the characters.
Right. DC's always been steeped in fantasy. This is the Fat Flash. This is the Gorilla, Green Lantern. Oh my God, we're on Mars. Oh my God, we're all selling used cars on Elseworlds, whatever. And
I'd read that.
That's pretty cool. But how you doing? Do I look good up here? I was told I have a face made for radio.
That's okay. This is a podcast, and I have a voice made for silent film.
Well, I will say that this is definitely something we can talk about for hours longer. So in the name of marketing and brevity, I think we may need to wrap it up here soon, since we have another podcast or another panel coming up in 5 minutes.
I think it's important as a public service announcement that we should tell all the listeners to wrap it up. Because there's that's off topic. I'm sorry. It's this pink microphone he had. It's turning me into something.
But we do all agree that the Golden Age was great, and there is something that all those Golden Age heroes had in common.
You know what it was? It wasn't the fact that the Golden Age was great. It was the fact that it gave the readers what they wanted.
It did.
Today, I think.
And what they wanted was capes.
He's trying to set me up for the sign-off.
Yeah. I'm not letting you sign off. Deliberately stopping you from signing off.
You're deliberately railroading us. I get it.
Personally, I'm not going to be bitten by the
your purse, cut his cord.
His cord is the black one over there.
Yeah.
So you're saying, well, yes, because there's a big panel coming up behind us, which Rusty's on, so he has to stay seated where he is anyway.
Yeah. Better be comfortable.
I want to make a molding to a seat joke, but I just can't think of one.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure if you tried.
Yes.
So you want me to sign off? Yeah. Rusty can sign off.
No.
I don't want to be up here when the dead get up here. I don't want to be there.
I refuse.
I'd make a horrible
I refuse to sign off. This is the podcast that never ends.
Thanks, Lamb Chop. That's good.
It goes on and on, my friend. And on that note,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching Superhero Speak.
Yes.
All right.